The Elizabethan theatre in Henry V, Shakespeare more than once complains that his subject is too vast to be worthily represented on the stage. The complaint, no doubt, would hold trust, or rather true, of the stage of our own day, for the stage must always fall short of reality. But if this is true of the modern stage, it was far more true under the rudimentary conditions of the Elizabethan drama. Let us first describe the construction of an average Elizabethan theatre. It consisted of first an outer wall, octagonal, hexagonal, square, or circular, against the inner side of which were three tiers of galleries. These galleries were roofed over. The central part of the theatre were approached by stairs from the yard. Second, the yard or pit, which is not seated. Third, platform or stage, which projected into the yard, being supported on posts about 4 feet high. Like the pit of the front part of the stage, two was exposed to the weather. The back part was covered by a roof supported on pillars. This part could be curtained off from the stage, and on the withdrawal of the curtains be used to indicate a change of scene. There was hardly any scenery. The lower story had two doors by which the actors came on the stage, and between these, two doors opening out of the actors' tiring room was a third door hidden by a curtain that formed the background of the stage. Here, a player like Polonius or the murderers in King John could wait concealed behind the arras, and here too the prompter must have been placed. Above these doors was the stage box or the upper stage which served various purposes. It sometimes formed part of the stage when it was used to represent the battlements of a castle wall, the upper story of a house, the balcony of Juliet's bedroom, or any scene described as above in the stage directions. At other times, the upper stage might be used for the musicians or for the distinguished visitors. At the far back of the stage rose the tiring house, and a flag bearing the sign of the theatre, globe, a swan, etc., was hosted from its roofs, rather was hoisted from the roof during the time of the play. Scenery was unknown in all public theatre before the Great Rebellion. Sometimes the place where the action was supposed to take place was indicated by a board. Movable things like trees, tombs were often introduced, though sometimes, even in place of property, its mere name was written up. These crude devices have been much ridiculed by Sidney and Johnson, but inability to counterfeit on the stage the supposed scene of action had some important results on the character of the Elizabethan drama. Firstly, it allowed the dramatic complete liberty to transport his action from place to place without fear of occasioning difficulties to the stage manager. Secondly, it necessitated passages of poetical description to make up for the deficiency of the scenery. Many of Shakespeare's wonderful descriptions of landscapes, castles, and wild moods would have been lost had he painted scenery at his disposal. In strange contrast to all this simplicity, the costumes of the theatre were extravagantly magnificent. They are by far the most expensive item in Henslaw's accounts. There are many contemporary references to the rich dresses of players. The English stage plays are famous in Europe for the money spent on them. After the trumpet had thrice sounded from the upper story of the tiring house, the performance began with the delivery of the prologue. Music was often between the acts. The parts of all women characters up to the restoration were taken by the boys or men. Shakespeare tried to exploit this necessary evil, and it is primarily for this reason that we find women characters in Shakespeare plays so often donning the clothes of men. The performances almost invariably took place in the afternoon. It appears that a penny procured admission to the yard, another penny to the gallery, three pennies secured a good place. Sometimes, however, we hear of sixpence and a shilling being paid for the best seats. The audience in Shakespeare's time was not only large, you know, it was also very mixed lot. That the drama in Shakespeare retained its indigenous character and did not become classical as in France was in no small measure due to the mixed character of the audience. Shakespeare was quite aware of the fact that the groundlings who occupied the pit were for the most part capable of nothing but inexplicable dumb shows and noises, and he indulged the popular taste for noise and brawls by including storms, cannonades, trumpeting, and clash of weapons in his stage directions. But he seems to have lamented the necessity for this crude realism. Sometimes, however, Shakespeare turned some of these defects into positive merits. For instance, Shakespeare satisfied the popular desire to see a clown on the stage, but he made the clowns as inseparable part of the drama. A kind of popular philosopher too, who adds so much to the interest. Another thing that rather another thing that may be noticed about the Elizabethan audience is the intimate relations that existed between it and the actors. This partly explains the large number of asides and soliloquies in Elizabethan drama. Women of gentle birth rarely came to the theatre. When they did so, they invariably used masks. Thank you.